I am Davie J, and you are watching Third Eye Alliance. We are a group of like-minded individuals with a passion for spiritual, supernatural, weird and wonderful, astrology, tarot cards, ghost hunting, cryptozoology, conspiracy theories, UAPs, and psychic phenomenon, and everything else that comes with it. So, and how are you today, Chris?
I am doing fantastic. How are you doing, Davy J?
I'm great. I was thinking for today we could do some tarot talks today, since
Yeah,
we
why
did
not?
astrology the other day.
Yeah, why not? We can do tarot today, and I guess I'm a tarot expert now after, doing tarot for so long and being on Fiverr. I recently just crossed my 10,000th reading on Fiverr.
10,000, holy cow.
Yeah, 10,000, and I think that 60% of the people gave me 5-star reviews, which I don't leave review. Whenever I do stuff, I never leave reviews. So, for me to get 60% of the people actually leaving reviews and 5-star reviews at that is pretty amazing. I
It
need
is.
to start leaving reviews for people because, now that I've been doing this on Fiverr for a while, I realize that
It does
I,
help.
I haven't been nice not doing it.
Oh, you're being nice. You're just lazy. Just a little
I
lazy.
give good tips. I give really good tips.
Oh, there you go. That's
Yes,
important.
but I never usually leave a review. So there's 40% of us people like me that don't leave reviews there. But yeah, I've learned a great deal doing tarot, and since I've been on Fiverr, it's been like supercharged because that's a lot. That's a lot of reading. That's like hundreds of
Yeah.
readings that I'm doing every month there on the platform, probably close to like 300 readings a
An
month.
average
So
of about 10 a day.
it's like 10 a day, sometimes more. My busiest day so far, I had, I think, 26 readings.
Holy cow.
And that was like, I woke up,
Mm-hmm.
you check the app, and you're like, holy crap. How am I going to do that many readings today? But yeah, I got through them all. Now, what I'm doing right now, for those of you that are listening and watching, I'm actually, this whole time I've been talking, I've been looking for the button that turns on the lower third, the graphic with my name and stuff. There we go. And of course, this is us, Davy J
That is me.
and our Christoph. And then, because I'm talking about tarot, this is where you can find my tarot stuff. Fiverr.com/rChristoph for those of you listening on one of the audio only platforms. So how do you want to go about doing this, Davy J?
Well, I can ask you some questions and we'll see what kind of answers will come up.
Cool.
Because we can do some nice general questions, and then in the future we will see what comes true, what really comes out. And
Okay,
yeah.
great. Well, let's go for it now. When I do tarots on Fiverr, I'm just going to show you guys something. So when I'm doing readings on Fiverr, you can actually see I got this this desktop here, and when you do readings with me on Fiverr, you actually don't really see my face. I'm going to change that. I'm building a set in the other room in my studio here that I will eventually finish one day, and then you'll be able to see my face on a backdrop, something better than the curtain that you saw earlier. But when you do readings with me, we do it right here on the desktop. You see me shuffling the cards. Yeah, what do we want to, what do you want to know? What do you want to know about tarot? Well, Davy J already knows quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been dabbling in tarot myself, but I don't do professional readings. I've done readings on friends and family whenever they ask. I know I have my way of kind of doing things where someone has a specific question. We can even go over scenarios, and I'll pull cards over each scenario so they can kind of figure out what direction they want to go. So that's one way I do it. I'm sure you have your own way after doing 10,000 readings.
Ridiculous amounts of readings. But yeah, if you want to do tarot, anybody can do tarot. Everybody has intuition, and tarot is one of those things. Even if your intuition isn't sharp, when you do tarot readings, I'll just show you right now. Usually, what comes in the box of cards, they usually give you one of these little books, and the book will go through every card, the meaning of each card. Okay. Now, the variations of the meaning of each cards change depending on who's writing the book, but more specifically, at the back of the book, we have different tarot spreads that you can do. And tarot spreads are a real great way to start doing readings, whether you're reading for other people or yourself. But I always recommend, if you want to do reading professionally, you should read for other people. Sometimes it's difficult to read for yourself, but that's how you start. You just start reading the things and try to memorize what you can about the cards. Now, this is my most recent tarot card deck that I bought. Why not? Let's promote it. But it's the great. I love them. They're not paying me to do this, but we got the colorful tarot deck, and they didn't give me a book. It's a QR code. So those of you at home, if you can scan that, I haven't actually gotten I didn't use this. So anybody that can see this can use it. Maybe anybody can use it, but that's how it kind of works. And that's how you start. And you start with doing readings for yourself, and then you kind of figure out kind of the meaning of the cards. And then most importantly, what those cards mean to you. Well, the cards that I have here, I just switched them out. The cards that we're going to use. I thought, hey, you know what? Why not use the colorful neon tarot card deck? So these are the ones that I showed just a little bit earlier that had that QR code without a book, but that's what we're going to be using today. And these cards are actually pretty cool because they got kind of neon colors. Now, we do post this podcast on YouTube. Of course, you can go at Third Eye Alliance. You can go youtube.com/Third Eye Alliance, or you can simply just go to the Third Eye Alliance website, which is thirdeyalliance.com, to get all the links to where this podcast is available. And we are pretty much everywhere right now. But because of YouTube, YouTube is now restricting cards that have suggested nudity on them, which does happen in the tarot. So just know, leading into the readings that we're about to do, I have removed the suggested nudity cards for safety, for us posting the video version of this on YouTube. Now, yes, that removes roughly about like 5 cards from the tarot card deck, but do note that the cards have multiple meanings. There are several cards that suggest similar things. So although, yes, 5 cards are missing, okay, from this tarot deck we're going to use today, it's not going to affect the readings too much. But what do you want to ask about today, Davie J?
Let's ask. How about we ask how well our channel is going to do?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, if you're on a platform that has those features, and if there's the ability to comment on these readings. Let me know what you thought about them. Let me know if you like the answers that come through. So I'm going to reword this question to take myself out of the question. I find it difficult to read for myself. So we're going to ask, how successful is the podcast going to make you? Right? Is that what we want to ask? Something like that? Or
okay, sure.
how happy are you going to be with the results of the podcast?
Then if it comes out I'm not happy, then I'll be a grouchy Davie J for the rest for the rest of this podcast.
It's a nightmare, Davie J. We're having fun just recording a podcast. It's a nightmare.
Yep.
You're like, Christoph, we used to be friends, but then we started doing a podcast, and now I hate your guts. Okay.
I want a divorce. No.
I want a divorce. Okay. Well, we're going to have to get married first. I'm already married.
Yep. And you definitely don't want to divorce her. She's a pet.
Yes.
She's a sweetheart.
She probably won't marry me again if I do that. Okay.
And I don't blame her.
It's like, I got to get divorced to marry my best friend so that I can divorce him.
Yeah, exactly.
She'll say, you're an idiot, Christoph. Okay, let's take a look at the first card that we have here for this. And we're looking at how happy you're going to be with, I guess, the success of the podcast. And the first card that we have here is the Empress. Okay, Empress, really good card. Empress actually is the feminine version of the Emperor. So it does talk about control in certain ways, but also it represents kind of love. So we're talking about how much you're going to like the success of the podcast. And we got the Empress, which essentially is kind of control. Well, it's love. It talks about love energy, warm, loving, supportive energy, and as well having control over that warm, loving, and supportive energy, which that's a great card to start with here.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the next card. We got the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles here
Hmm.
essentially represents holding on to something. So it's kind of like, Lord of the Rings. It's precious. You can't let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
But pentacles usually they look like gold coins. They could represent kind of financial success. But we have you holding on to something. So it's
Hmm.
something that you are going to enjoy, probably already enjoy doing, and you're not going to
Definitely.
want to kind of let it go. The next card that we have here is teamwork, and I don't know why my camera is not doing the focusing today. There we go.
There.
We got teamwork. Teamwork here essentially represents working with a good team
Mm-hmm.
of people. And the interesting part about this, as we're building this podcast, we also want to build the Third Eye Alliance and everybody to join the Third Eye Alliance. So that kind of lines up pretty well about kind of building a team, having a team
Yeah,
of
definitely.
trusted people.
And it costs
Um,
nothing to join.
Okay, and we got the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups here represents a connection of balance. Okay, it represents two people. This could represent a friendship. This could represent kind of two people working together on something and having a balance. We're talking about probably friendship. This probably represents us, unless you meet the love of your life through the show. Next week, which I don't know if that's going to happen. But I do think this represents a balanced kind of connection between the two of us. I think that that's what it represents. And the last card that we have here. Oh no, the death card. Okay. So the
There's a
death card,
stigma with that card.
there's a stigma with that card, but like this is the worst position for the death card there, Davie J. This is not good. So the death card here it represents clearing the way of what is no longer needed in order to bring a bright future forward. So we have that bright future represented by the sunrise off in the distance. And essentially what happens, you see death is riding a horse and trampling over this person, all these people, okay? And it's clearing the way of what's needed. Now, death is one of those things where something has to end in order for something new to begin. Okay. So this actually talks about not the podcast ending miserably, but what it actually talks about is this podcast might basically force you to have to end certain things. Like there's going to be sacrifices essentially that you're probably going to have to make for the podcast at some point.
Hmm.
And that's probably not anytime soon though, but it's probably like as we progress with the podcast, as it becomes more popular, it's going to take up more and more of our time. And that's the problem with anything that's successful is it ends
Yeah.
up being really great and fun, but then it becomes work. And
Yep.
that's what this represents. It represents all that fun
Yep.
becoming work.
Yep.
There we go.
All right. Well, that's going to be interesting. Although if it does eventually become work, well, that's still a good thing because that means it's still holding on and it's going.
We're building something important. When I started doing tarot card readings, on Fiverr, I did it for fun. And now after 10,000 readings, it's work, but I'm doing really good things with my readings. I'm helping people with my readings, so
Yeah.
why not keep doing it,
And
right?
it's still fun.
It is still fun, even when it's work. It's still fun.
Mhm.
So that's it. So yeah, I don't like the death card here, but everything else is actually pretty great.
Yeah.
Uh, the death card may also represent that the podcast may eventually come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's something that's interesting to think about. That it may end, but you know what? If the podcast does end, I hope it evolves into something else, right?
I would say it most likely does because with every ending, there's a new beginning. So there'll
Mm-hmm.
be some sort of new beginning, maybe for the two of us branching into something else.
Yeah,
So
who knows? Who
yeah.
knows what's going to be the next thing?
Mm-hmm.
You never know, and I'm not going to guess right now unless it's the next question. What do you want to ask next, there, Davy J?
Let's see. Is there a question maybe you have that?
I have no questions. No questions. The fun part about doing tarot readings is that everybody asks the questions that I would want to ask,
Mm-hmm.
and I get to do those readings for other people. Is there anything we were looking at stuff online before we started the podcast? Is there anything that you had open that you may want to look at?
Let's see.
Because we could look into the future of things. Now, I don't want to look into the near future. I don't want to look at kind of current things, but we can look in the far off future.
Okay. Let's ask if how well things will go with the war between Ukraine and Russia, if they will come to an agreement, or what will happen there.
Now, at the time of recording this, it is, what's the date?
May the 5th, 2025, Cinco de Mayo,
Okay,
or
so
Revenge
we're
of the
going out
Fifth
of
if you're a
evergreen
Star Wars nut.
territory. So one of the reasons why I didn't want to kind of look at the near future is because to make the content evergreen, but now that we're asking something specific, we need to say the date, okay? So we can prove that this was predicted long before it actually happened. Um, let's see what's going to happen in the war with the Ukraine and Russia. So we got a willing sacrifice. So that's the hanged man. So the hanged man essentially represents a sacrifice happening. Now, the hanged man represents somebody or multiple people making willing sacrifices in order to kind of move things forward. In this case, moving things forward would be ending it. Okay. The next card that we have here is an opportunity being presented here. So it's almost like I don't want to say a bribe, but it feels like something's going to be kind of traded in order to kind of like resolve things sooner. So we have this cup being presented to this person who's sitting underneath a tree. This person's focus is on these three cups here, which essentially is continuing the war. So there's like some sort of trade that will cause, like some sort of trading is happening between various people to kind of agree to end things. So it isn't going to be one side winning or another side winning. It's not going to be I blew up your whole country. It's going to be, okay, well, I'll give you this, you give me that, and then we'll agree to stop. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
almost like bribes. We got the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles here essentially represents getting what they want and getting what they need. So ultimately, I do think the war, I feel like the war is going to be ending soon. Like, I don't think this is going to be something that is going to drag out for like another 2 years or 3 years. But the energy that we have here from the King of Pentacles, it represents once somebody gets what they want, okay? And I think that's what the trading is about. So I don't know whether or not it's going to be like a trade, like the border being adjusted a little, or whether or not they're giving resources to various people. And I don't think it's like Russia and the Ukraine, like, yes, they may be trading resources, but I feel like they're trading resources with more than just like not between each other, but with other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups essentially represents communication moving forward. That's actually a really great card because it does. Cups usually represent communication or a gift. Now, this represents kind of communication moving forward. The Knight of Cups could represent the delivery of a message, the delivery of a gift, but usually forward progress because there's movement. And we got heartbreak, okay? So heartbreak represents that nobody's going to be happy, but I do think that things will be resolved. So this is one of those situations where I think that eventually the troops are going to pull out. There's going to be some sort of trade, so they're going to basically be negotiating for. There's going to be losses on both sides, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
Russia's not going to get exactly what they want, but the Ukraine's not going to get exactly what they want either. And there's going to be some sort of like monetary exchange to kind of end things. Russia's not going to be happy. Okay, so even though Russia's going to agree to stop and Russia's going to agree to whatever the negotiation is, it's not over because their overall reaching plan, Russia has a bigger plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ukraine was just one part of a much bigger plan that they're still going to be moving forward with. So I wouldn't, I like the fact that this ends in a heartbreak. It means that this situation might get resolved, but more issues could very well occur in the future, or as a result of what happens, the final thing that happens between Russia and the Ukraine, it could cause other issues kind of down the line. So once again, ending with a death card over here, ending with a heartbreak card
Wow.
over there. Okay, so I feel good, like the energy related to this, and I'm talking with my intuition now. I feel like it's not far away from being resolved, but it's just the beginning, and it's like it almost feels like it almost like I feel like I'm going to be in the future reading in a history book that this, although this situation was solved, it was like the start of something else. Like it's going to be a part of the story. Like this happened, that happened, and because these two things happened, then this other thing happened, and it feels like history. So this doesn't feel like something that people are going to forget. It's like something that's going to really stick for a long time. And yes, the problem will be solved, but there'll be more reoccurring issues as a result. Oh boy.
What's the oh boy for?
I don't want to, I like, oh man. The oh boy, it's like more wars, I think. Like, I don't think this is the first. And it's like, Russia's not going to be happy. Like, Russia's going to agree to things. But I don't think Russia's going to be happy. And it's almost like Vladimir Putin, right? It's like he has something to prove, and he didn't prove that. Like, it's like he's trying to prove his strength or something. So he might very well do something else later. I feel like he's like, time's running out for him. Like, that's how it feels. It feels like Vladimir Putin's like on a clock, right? He knows, oh, I only have this much time to do this, 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 and this. So it's like, this is the distraction right now. And once this is settled, he'll be like, okay, well, what's the next thing? Like, it's like like he's distracted right now by this war. But when it's done, what's going to distract him next?
Yeah.
Right? What's his next thing? Yeah. Oh, boy.
Wow.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
All right. And let's see. How's the economic future of Canada looking right now?
Let's take a look at Canada's future now. We're Canadian, those of you that are watching this. Davie J and I are both Canadian. We're living in 2 different cities in Canada. We're not going to tell you which ones, haha. But if you get tarot card readings from me, especially if you do my negative energy removal service, I do mention in my negative energy removal service,
which works well,
where I'm located, because your distance from me could slow down the process. But let's see here. We're taking a look at the economy of Canada, what's going to be happening in the future. Now, I was just having a conversation with Davie J. I'm not going to tell you guys what that conversation was about, things that my mother predicted, okay? And it's things that my mother is expecting to happen. Now, I don't share her views of what's expected to happen. I'm pro Canada. I love the US as well too. I love everybody in the US. I love visiting the US, and I just hope that this tension between Canada and the US, I hope that it can go away. I hope we can resolve it, because I want to go to Disney World again. I do.
I want to see my family again, because I have my aunt and uncle living in Florida, and my dad lives just in New York somewhere.
Yeah. There you go. And I got a trip planned with my mother. My mom's going to take me and my wife on a trip to the US soon. So I hope things are still good. Okay, I do. Okay, so let's look at Canada here moving forward. It's near and dear to my heart and Davie J's heart. We got the King of Swords. The King of Swords essentially represents actually logical choices and decisions being made. So more logical stance. So like Canada, as far as what this card is showing, is like the new leadership. Okay, the prime minister. Okay, the prime minister is going to be working to make logical choices and decisions. Okay, and that's what this card very much means to me. It's like somebody that, like, you got the sword. Well, what do you do with the sword? Well, I need this. I don't need that. Right. So it's like cutting away what isn't needed and focusing on the logical kind of decision and choices. Oh my God, we got walking away. Okay.
Interesting.
All right. So this is the 8 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups actually shows Canada walking away. It almost looks like Canada's walking away from the table. And the energy that I feel from this card, it feels like Canada further walking away from the US. So the dependency on the US. Okay. So it looks like we're going to be like looking for resources, things from other places. Okay. Oh, wow. Feeling alone and isolated. This is all connected to us being disconnected from the US.
Yeah.
Now, I personally don't care if trading goes to crap between Canada and the US, but I just want like things to be good between Canadians and Americans, like personally good. And I want tourism to return. Canada's like holding back on a lot of things. We're not buying alcohol from the US. We're not traveling to the US. Like, a lot of Canadians are not traveling to the US anymore, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
The US is amazing. We got the King of Cups. The King of Cups here represents Canada being able to maintain balance. Now we got a king here, and the king is sitting on this throne. This throne is stone, and the stone throne is actually floating on the ocean. We got blue wavy lines here. There's a fish on this side and a boat with purple sails on the other side there. But essentially what happens here, it's about maintaining control so that Canada doesn't sink, okay? And that's the real goal right now for Canada, is to maintain balance. So anything that needs to do, going anywhere that, you know, we need to go in order to maintain balance and building new opportunities. This is actually really great. So we got the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles here represents a farmer, and the farmer plants seeds over time to grow new opportunities. And this shows Canada growing kind of new connections. Guess what? Canada's going to get even closer to, you know, the United Kingdom. Canada's going to get even closer to China and India and all the other countries that are willing to trade with us for less. So that's kind of the big hurdle here. So yeah, it looks like we're going to be more independent. Like Canada, for the longest time, we were dependent on the US, and the US, I think, is dependent on Canada a little bit as well too. So that dependence is going to be going away. So Canada is going to become more independent. And I think that's what's going to happen with the US as well too. I think the US is going to be more independent again. And I think the US is going to rely less on like foreign products, right? So maybe that's a good thing for the future, but yeah, independence for Canada, making more logical choices, not making dumbass mistakes. That's and for those of you who are not familiar with Canada, the last 10 years in Canada, at least in my opinion, hasn't been the best.
No, definitely not.
And regardless of what your political take is, like I am, you know, I don't really care about politics. Okay. All I care about is the way things are, you know, within my life. But regardless of what side you're on, what you believe, I support everybody. I support everybody's views. But yeah, Canada could be doing better, and Canada could have been doing better a while ago.
Yep.
It was like they were choosing not to. Let's not do better.
And they did. Yeah.
So hopefully now, with all the big changes that are happening throughout the world, all the changes with trading, you know, hopefully that will, you know, force Canada to become more independent.
Yeah.
From
And
other
self-sufficient, maybe.
and self-sufficient. Yeah. You know, when Donald Trump talks about how Canada needs the US, I think that's true. Like, I don't think that's false.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know, there's so many things like, you know, we're gonna see some differences here, but it's about making every country more independent. And you know, because could you imagine a world war breaks out? Okay, not that I'm predicting that. I'm not predicting that. Okay,
Good.
but could you imagine a world war breaks out and every country is dependent on other countries? And imagine Canada being dependent on a country that is against them in the war.
Yeah. Good
You know,
luck.
yeah, it's so that's something interesting to kind of look at. So I do support Canada to being more independent. I support the US being more independent. You know, why don't we manufacture more stuff in Canada that we use in Canada?
Yeah, it's
I don't
true.
know. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Not everything makes sense to me. but that does there. But as far as Canada, yeah, we're seeing more independence. We're seeing Canada maybe being a little bit isolated and separating a bit from the needs of the US. We see Canada just doing whatever Canada can do to stay afloat and building new opportunities for the future, but more logical decisions being made, which that seems good to me, you know, but sometimes decisions seem logical, but we don't realize they were the bad decision till later.
Yeah, until it all blows up in your face.
What is it? It's hindsight is 2020. Is that the saying?
That's the saying.
So, you know, you can always look, and even when we do tarot readings, you know, something that I want to say here is what we're looking at here in these readings is the most likely outcome, but it's not a guarantee. Nothing, no reading's a guarantee, okay? But we're looking at the most likely outcome based on current energy, decisions that have already been made, you know, decisions that people know they're going to make, but anybody can decide something completely different. You have free will. I have free will. Davie J has free will.
Yep.
And at any point in time, you can just change your life. You just have to make a different choice than what you would have made before. And that's the big thing with tarot reading when I do readings on Fiverr. It's all about, showing you the direction of the way things are currently going so that you can make the decisions that you need to move in that direction that you want to go. Because it's about you having your choice. It's about you making decisions. And one of the things that I like to talk about, and I don't know what Davie J's opinion of this is, but fate. I don't think fate controls us. I think fate just presents us with choices.
I
And we
agree.
can make that choice or not make that choice. And based on the choice you make today, fate will present you with something else later based on, the series of decisions. Um, Opportunities will always be there, but you got the ultimate choice. So if you're
Yep.
unhappy with something in your life,
Mm-hmm.
you can make a different decision tomorrow
Yep. You
and
can.
just drastically change everything.
Yeah. Or you can even do it subtly by just choosing something simple by making a choice that really, really resonates with you. If you want
Mm-hmm.
chocolate over vanilla, go for chocolate.
Yep, simple choices too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to go more extreme. If you burn your life down to the ground until there's nothing left, you can still dig your way out. There's
Yep.
always a positive way forward. We haven't gotten the tower card, which I hope we don't get it, but the tower card that we have in the tarot essentially represents a tower that burns down to the ground till there's like nothing but ashes.
Yes.
And you can always rebuild. Same thing with the death card. Just because something ends, doesn't mean that things are over. Something new always comes. Death and birth, right? The two
Exactly.
sides of the same coin. Even if things don't work out, there's always the next chapter or the next choice
Yep.
or a better decision you can move into next time.
Yep. Or something has just completely run its course, and that's the end of it. And then it's time for something even better.
Yep. Sometimes certain situations, certain people, sometimes you're not meant to have it at a certain point in time. Sometimes it's over.
Hmm. Yep.
Even if you don't want it to be over.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, the future is always bright. And that's something that, in my readings, I always want people to understand that, everything is fixable. Okay.
Hmm.
Sometimes you do. You got to cut some people out. You got to make some changes. And I always say in my readings that you have to make the best decision for yourself.
Yes.
If you're not in a good place first, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. There's a lot of people out there that put a lot of energy behind helping other people, but they don't help themselves as
Hmm.
much as they help other people.
Yep.
And that's a huge misstep for anybody listening out there. If you feel like you're doing everything and the people around you are doing nothing, okay, that's the wrong people.
Yes, definitely.
Or
Find
you need to
different
bring in
people.
someone new that does things that at least helps support the weight
Yeah.
of things. So,
Yeah.
okay, where are we going here? Those of you that are listening to this podcast, of course, we have this podcast available in video form in many, many places. You can go to thirdeyealliance.com and you can see links to every place the podcast is available, which the podcast just keeps growing. It keeps becoming more available in more and more places. So, what would you like to ask next here? What do you want to know
Hmm.
about the future, Davie J?
The future. Let's find out how well we will do at colonizing Mars in
Okay,
the
let's
next
take a look
few
at
years.
Mars. Colonizing Mars. Now, that would be cool. That would be really cool.
I don't want to go, but I'll watch from Earth.
Yes, I'm happy here. Unless there's something on Mars that, is something you can't live without, which I don't know. But I'm sure lots of people will go there and it'll be great. But let's see. Let's see what the cards have to say about Mars, colonizing Mars. We got the Emperor. Okay. So the Emperor essentially represents, well, a controlling person. Okay. The Emperor essentially represents somebody in charge. So it seems like there's going to be somebody really in charge of Mars and kind of what happens there. And it seems like, at least at the beginning, there's going to be a lot of control. They're going to be controlling a lot of things. Wheel of Fortune. Wow, that's great. So it talks about luck being on the side of colonizing Mars. So even though at first things might be a little bit restrictive, there might be people that maybe control things a little too much there. It definitely seems like things are going to start developing in a pot like Wheel of Fortune. That's a really great card. Wow, we got the Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles here. We got big pentacle there, so it represents kind of big opportunities. Below that, we have a hedge, an archway, and a path here leading to mountains in the distance. And this essentially talks about a long journey filled with what? Opportunities. Now, we're not just talking about the long journey it takes to get to Mars. No, no, no. We're talking about the growth of Mars and mankind moving there. And you know what I find interesting, Davie J? Will people change? Will the people that move to Mars because the differences in gravity or the differences in the atmosphere, will the human race start evolving in a different way? I'm so interested to know whether or not that happens, but I guess I won't see that in my lifetime. But let's take a look at the next card that we have here, difficulty. So this is the 10 of Wands. It represents carrying a heavy load. It also represents burden. So this basically says the first few people that go to Mars, well, guess what? Those people are going to be doing the majority of the work,
Yeah.
kind of developing it. So it isn't going to be, Mars isn't going to be filled with like billionaires on jet skis having fun. No, it's the first people that are going to go to Mars are going to be the people that colonize it, build it. I think there's going to be like a drain of skilled people that are going to end up going there to build. Now, the thing is, if you always wanted to live in the Wild West and build your own house out of dirt, well, maybe that's what Mars is going to be in the early days, but
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be more controlled than what the Wild West was. So probably no gunfights and shooting your friends.
But everybody has a rock garden.
But everybody will have a rock garden. Yes. Let's take a look at the last card that we have here, and we have strength. So strength is a really fantastic card. What we see here with strength is we see a woman and a lion. Of course, these are the colorful tarot deck, so they made the lion purple. But regardless, this is a woman and a lion. It's kind of like Beauty and the Beast, but it represents kind of like a connection and a relationship that kind of gets stronger over time. So it talks about like most of the people going to Mars at first, it'll be development. Okay. So it's scientific, and then after they figure out everything that they need to do, then it goes into like full blown development. So this will be like one of those things where if you want to be an inspiring architect and design something amazing, maybe Mars is the place that you're going to want to design buildings in the future, right? So there's going to be a lot of passionate people that want to kind of build a new world, and those are going to be the people that are going to end up going. The weird part is I don't think you can design buildings in Mars virtually from Earth. So I feel like that everybody that's going to build on Mars will probably have to be on Mars. I'm sure they're going to figure out Wi-Fi between Earth and Mars. They'll figure that out, right? But I don't think that, like, I think that to do things on Mars, I feel like it's like a separate place. It's like you got to go there. So it's weird. It's almost like I'm feeling it's not going to be like free borders or anything like that. I almost feel like Mars is going to be very much controlled, and I almost feel like there's going to be like multiple countries owning multiple parts of Mars. So the same way like Earth is divided into various countries, it's like Mars will be claimed, but not claimed by just one place. Okay. And the weird part is I think there's going to be wars, and I'm sorry for giggling, but every time I pick up like not so great energy, it's a nervous giggle. But essentially what I'm seeing here is like wars are going to be fought on Earth over land disputes on Mars. So
They can't just do a one world, everybody happy thing. I mean,
no, human race is just complicated all the time for no good reason.
Ego.
Yeah. So it's like, who's the best? Who has the most? So, and the weird part is those wars aren't going to be fought on Mars because there's going to be minimal resources there. So they'll fight the war here.
Perfect.
And,
just what we want.
hopefully by that time, all wars are just video games and, kids hopped up on caffeine winning the war, with their goggles and virtual headsets on. That's what I would love war to be in the future. Just a video game that has legal results. It's like if your team of teenaged, computer hacking video game players can beat my team of teenage computer gamers, professional gamers. Wouldn't that be cool
That would be
if the
fun.
world's issues were solved by, a video game tournament?
Yep. Yep. Put
Your death
everybody in
count is
VR.
higher than my death count. Fantastic.
Yep. Put all the presidents and prime ministers and everybody in VR, and okay,
Yeah.
battle it out.
Yeah. One, instead of like the countries fighting and people dying, you have, the president of one country and the prime minister of another country just basically doing a virtual boxing match. And whoever wins, right? You set their stats to the same level, so
Yep.
they have the same amount of, and you see who wins based on strategy. Wow. So that's kind of an interesting view on Mars, and what's coming through these cards. It's like, it's going to be scientific, then the construction, essentially designers, and the weird part is it's almost like there's going to be a technology drain. So all the best scientists, all the best designers will probably end up going to Mars, which means it'll take longer for the PlayStation 35 to come out. But hopefully by that time, computer games are on every device, because there's going to be cloud. Everything's going to be on the cloud, right? So you can play your PlayStation games on your iPhone, provided the brands let that happen. So what do you think of that? What do you think of that future that came through there about Mars?
That's actually very surprising. I was sitting down here going, well, they don't really have an atmosphere, so how are people gonna breathe? And there's no ATMs and nowhere to spend the money, so you can't go out and get a coffee anywhere. So yeah, it'll be a struggle for whoever does go there first.
Can you imagine like people that want to be the first to do something? Like the numbers start all over again on Mars, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get in the Guinness Book of World Records, or the Mars alcohol brand book of world records, right? And you can you can be the person that jumps the highest on Mars. You can be the person who, designed the tallest building. The building wars can start all over again. Who has the tallest buildings on Mars, right? So it's interesting. And, but I think there's a bright future. I think that the human race is meant to spread.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're meant to, eventually spread out all over the universe. And, we were talking about past lives. The last time it was just you and I together. And, people have past lives where they are on a different planet. And are they having past lives on a different planet because they are an alien species? Or are they having a past life on another planet because it's our future and we colonize the universe? For all we know, the universe is already colonized. And we're just out of the loop right now. So,
and time is non-linear, so your past life could be in the year 2342.
Yeah, you can jump into the future.
Yes.
Absolutely. What else have we got going on here? We got a bit of time left in this podcast. What else would you like to ask here? We can do two more before I run out of desktop space here.
Let's see. How about what is going on behind the ice wall in Antarctica that we are not allowed to go and see?
Give the folks at home that aren't aware of the ice wall a bit of kind of insight in what is believed.
It's believed that there is a society there that is not allowing the rest of us in there because humans are very toxic and dangerous and shoot first, ask questions later. So all of the governments of this world have signed a treaty stating that they will not go past this certain point, and they don't.
And some people believe there's a city behind the wall. Other people believe there's a hole in the earth.
Yes.
At that location, and there's people living inside of the earth, maybe another race, more advanced society. Some people believe those people were the ones that built the pyramids and taught the human race a whole bunch of stuff and decided we were too dangerous.
Yep. And I agree, we are very dangerous and ridiculous.
We teach them something and they turn it into a bomb.
Yep. So I'm curious about
you can shoot rocks to let's kill all the animals. Okay, let's turn it into guns. Okay.
Yeah.
But let's see about this ice wall and what's essentially kind of back there. And there's numerous YouTube videos of people like traveling there to try to like, and nobody's gotten to the other side of it. Um, that's something interesting to look up on Google Maps, right? Like,
Yeah.
what does Google Maps even show? But let's take a look and see what the cards have to say about this. And so we got the Knight of Wands. The wands usually represent knowledge or gaining knowledge. So it's something about knowledge, moving things forward. Now, this is not so much, I don't feel like a battle energy from this card. It almost feels like the adventure of knowledge. Now, the interesting part about this, and oh my God, I just realized this is something about card imagery. We got pyramids in the background of the
Oh,
first card that
and
we pulled here,
and
and that's just something. Yeah,
there are pyramids that they are saying are in Antarctica,
I
under the ice and
guarantee,
snow. Well,
guarantee
they're on
there's
every other
pyramids.
continent on the planet, so
Yeah, why not there?
yeah,
Probably guaranteed to be there. Let's take a look at the next card that we have here, and we have the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands represents having everything that you need in order to move things forward in a positive way. Now, I find this, it's almost like the search for knowledge, having everything that you need to move things forward in a positive way, but just we're not doing it. Like,
hmm
that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from this. We gave you everything and you still haven't decided to do the right thing with it yet. Like, that's how the energy feels right now. Like, I'm feeling the energy of like a more intelligent force. Let's take a look at the next card that we have here. We got the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands represents a long journey and a long adventure. And you see what's in the background of that card?
more pyramids.
More pyramids. And you know what else I just noticed here? Right here on the Two of Wands, he's standing on a wall. We're talking about an ice wall. We're talking about a town or village or city behind the ice wall. Look at that.
hmm
Look at it. It's pyramids, ice wall, like walls, everything's showing up. Let's take a look at the next card. We have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups here shows numerous opportunities being available. Now, that's kind of interesting because I'm feeling like the opportunity of knowledge and what knowledge can bring us. But of course, each one of these cups has kind of a different thing in it. This cup has a snake. That cup has a woman's head for some reason. This one has like a tower. Some of these cups are good, some of these cups are bad. So this cup kind of talks about how the use of knowledge can be good or bad. So, like, I feel like there's knowledge being kept from us there. And the last card that we have here, that's a pretty good one. So this is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands represents breaking through. So it represents kind of breaking out of a difficult situation. The person in the card actually has a bandage on their head. They've kind of been through a bit of a battle, but it represents some sort of breakthrough happening. Now, what I find with this is that it's not talking about what's on the other side of the ice wall.
hmm
All this reading is talking about is knowledge that's being used improperly. That's what's coming through here. And things like the pyramids, right?
hmm
Like, it does. This very much feels like the energy of some other, type of being here on Earth. Like, that's how it feels. And everything is about having a breakthrough, right? That's kind of like having a breakthrough, a long journey of learning, and learning from mistakes. And that's kind of what it is. It's like we don't learn. The human race doesn't learn unless you make a whole lot of mistakes first. It's like we got to do the wrong thing before we realize the right thing is the right way to go.
That's a lesson in life, actually.
I think we're a long way away, though, from
Yeah.
those. Even I am like, people that do tarot readings, spiritual people. We're still flawed people.
hmm
Okay, just because you believe a certain thing or you feel like your energy is higher on the food chain than somebody else, it doesn't mean you're better
No.
than anybody, right? We all make mistakes. We're meant to make mistakes. That's kind of a part of our journey. I feel like that's why we're here. That's one of the reasons why we're so terrible, because we're meant to learn over and over and over again.
Yep. And even spiritual ego can get in the way, because that's the thing. People can get so high on their own spirituality that they think that it's so much better than everything else. But meanwhile, the universe is just shaking its head, going, "Nope, they're not learning either."
No, no, I've had like people have had other readers have had arguments with me
hmm
about, oh, you need to read this way, it has to be that way, you have to do this, there's this rule and that rule and there's no rules. You know, you
Yep.
can read, you can do anything the way that feels comfortable for you, the way that works best for you. Somebody was telling me, "Oh, you should use a new tarot card deck for every question." And I was like, "Oh, if I did that, I would have to have 50 tarot card decks ready at
Yeah.
all times. Like right now, one, two, three, four, five different. I have 5 different tarot card decks, though. I
Hmm.
do have them. They're all like I do have them. But yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, especially if you're asking. There's more than enough cards
Hmm.
in here to answer, and until you run out of cards, basically. I usually go about halfway through. If I get about halfway through, I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's not enough cards for the universe to send the right message.
Hmm.
But that's my personal choice. But you find these people who think something is one way and they fight you for it. And
Yeah.
the moment somebody fights you on anything, there's something else going on. It's usually you're not usually the issue when somebody is, trying to push certain things. And that's one of the things with the Third Eye Alliance as well too. One of the reasons why we're doing this here at the Third Eye Alliance, we want to accept everybody into the Third Eye Alliance, whatever it is that you believe, whatever it is that you've experienced. We'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to have a conversation with you about. I would love to hear about all of your experiences, the things that you've witnessed, the things that you believe. It's all about just kind of getting all of that information out there so that every individual can decide for themselves what they want and believe. How do you feel about that, Davy J?
I agree completely. And I also wanted to point out that there are people out there who will judge immediately and see tarot cards and go, "Oh, that's evil. Tarot is
Yeah.
evil." Blah blah blah. No, they're cards. They're inanimate objects. Nothing is evil about them. It's the energy behind the person using them. You can say the
Yep.
same thing about any sort of religious book. I mean, you some people will say one is evil and the other one is good, where it's usually the reader. It's the reader behind it.
It's the energy of the person
Yeah.
behind. And even looking at these tarot cards, we have pentacles on
Hmm.
these tarot cards, right? People will go, "Ooh, the devil." There's actually a devil card in the tarot, right?
Yep.
But, a lot of people, there are some versions of the tarot, I think they're mostly in the UK, they turn pentacles into coins. They call them coins. They don't call them pentacles.
Right.
And so I have a deck that came from the UK. They're coins. But it's how you use the cards, what you use the cards for, what's
Yeah.
in your heart, and what you would. I could use these cards to do terrible things if
Hmm.
I wanted to,
Right.
but that is not who I am. I'm here to help people. And it's
Yeah.
the same thing with like spell work,
Hmm.
witchcraft.
Yeah.
You can use it for good things or you can use it for bad things. It's about the person, and
And the intention
hopefully you're
behind
not
it.
using anything for bad things.
No, send out good vibes only. People don't need the
Yes.
bad vibes.
It just complicates things more. It just causes more frictions and problems in the world. Cause less problems, please, in the world. Like,
Indeed.
and if those of you watching this on some of the other platforms that we have for video, if there is the ability for you to comment, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what we've discussed here in this video. I love everybody to kind of give their thoughts on their opinion of what the tarot cards have said, whether it's good, nice, or terrible. Feel free. I'd love to read everything. I'd love to get everybody's opinion.
Exactly. And everyone's
And
entitled to an opinion as well.
absolutely. And I'm not going to delete your comments. Okay. They can stay there. Okay. YouTube might delete them depending on your language, but I won't. Okay.
Mhm.
We got one more question here.
I know that there is one question that a lot of people have on their minds with
Mm,
what's going on politically all over the world.
yeah.
What will happen if there is a one world government?
Ooh. Well, that's something that it seems like people have been talking about for a long time. It may even be something that was attempted. Maybe, I don't want another world war, but if there's another big war,
Hmm.
maybe that could be the result. you
You
know,
never know. Hmm.
my opinion of this, my personal opinion, which I'm happy to share it about this. We're all people. We're all the same. Okay, even if we look different,
Yep. We're all humans.
um, most of us have pretty much the same belief system. We believe in the same things. Why can't we all be unified? Why can't we all be each other's friends? I never understood that. Why people work against
Right.
other people. Anyway, let's see. Let's see. Sorry, what was the question again?
What will happen if we have a one world government?
Okay, one world government, and okay, we get rapid action. That's the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands here represents something moving forward. The interesting thing that's coming through here, it represents faster decision making, which is kind of interesting. Perhaps this represents faster decision making with kind of world issues, world matters, what rules we should follow. We got the feeling of loss. Okay. So we got 3 cups have fallen over, but 2 cups are still standing. Okay. Now, the 5 of cups, it represents the feeling of loss, but it's just the feeling of
Hmm.
loss. It's not actual real loss. We see the person in this card, they're looking towards the left. When this person looks towards the left, they see that 3 cups have fallen over. They see that there's a rapidly moving river that's difficult to cross. And they're like, how can I deliver my cups? It was the liquid in the cups this person was trying to deliver to that village. They're like, all the liquid is gone. I can't get across that river. But if this person just looks from a different perspective, if this person just turns around and looks towards the right, they'll see that there's 2 cups still standing. And they'll see that there's a bridge to lead them over the water to that village. There's always a way through, there's always a way forward. But one of the things that this card is talking about that will stop a world government is people feeling like they're going to lose something, feel like they're going to lose their culture, people feeling like they're going to lose their position in the world when there's 2 cups standing, which means things could be even better than they were before. Let's take a look at the next card. Okay, it's happening. We got the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords represents a family on a boat moving from one side of the river to the other. It represents travel. Okay, it represents change. It represents from moving from a bad place to a better place. So this actually represents that, yeah, change will happen. And this is something that could very well occur. Now, I don't know if this is going to occur within our lifetime, okay?
Hmm.
But this is definitely the direction that things are already starting to move in. Okay. The next card that we have here is the Hermit. Now, the Hermit here is really interesting because what is a hermit? An isolationist. Okay. A hermit is somebody that kind of stays alone. Now, what does that hermit actually do when they're alone? They think about a lot of things. So the hermit actually talks about taking time away to think about things. It actually represents that there could be more separation before things actually come together. And it's like we kind of have to all separate to realize it's a bad idea. So that's what's kind of coming through here in the Hermit. There could very well be more separation between countries, more separation between people, um, before people realize, okay, well, we need to be a whole, we need to be together. Okay. And the last card that we have here is the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords, once again, just like the Hermit, represents a lot of thought. So this isn't something that's going to be happening anytime soon because there's still a lot of thought. There's still a lot of things figuring out, but it does say we're in the direction of this. It does say that it would actually be a good thing to happen, but what's stopping a world government, what's stopping there from being one power in the world is fear of loss. Okay. People are too afraid to lose what they have now, even if it's terrible, even if they don't like what they have. They're afraid that what comes next might be even worse than what they have now. And fear and worry, you get fear and worry. The devil card, I always say it represents your fears and worries.
Hmm.
Fears and worries are really what stop us from taking those risks and moving things forward. So it's going to take some time. So not anytime soon, but I think a world government, especially if we're all getting along, wouldn't that be a good thing? Like,
It would be kind of nice. That way we
you
could
know,
say, where are you from? I'm from Earth.
I'm pretty sure a world government would also still have voting like they do in every other country,
Hmm.
right?
They should.
They would still have local leaders, right, that made, I guess municipal decisions, right?
Yeah.
It's just that everybody would be able to talk about things without getting into a fight.
And have a voice.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and I don't think anything will ever be fair, but that's probably going to be as close to fair whenever we grow up, because it's kind of like the human race,
Mm-hmm.
we're still children, and I get
Yep.
reminded of that like every day, that we're all just not grown up. Like we think we're grown up,
Yeah.
but we're not actually.
And for
We're not there yet.
any young people watching this, adults make it up as we go. So there
Yes.
don't always believe that adults know everything.
No.
But do listen to us when we say you shouldn't go and do this horrible thing over here, because we're probably right on that
Yeah.
one.
We made mistakes so that you don't have to.
Yep.
And if you listen to the advice, okay, you won't make the same mistakes. And it might get you further ahead in life.
Mm-hmm.
When your parents get mad at you, that's why.
So
Because they're like, I'm giving you all the secrets, but you keep ignoring me.
exactly.
So, kids, you can follow your parents' advice or you don't. If you want to make more mistakes,
Yeah.
feel free to do what you want. But that's what I did most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I did what I wanted. I took risks when people told me not to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Fair
I'm
enough.
better for it. But maybe I
Yeah.
could have been a little bit ahead. Maybe a little bit if I had to listen more.
But lessons are lessons, and you wouldn't be where you are now without them.
No. And a lot of the biggest important things that I've achieved in my life was because I didn't say no. I kept saying yes. And
Mm-hmm.
I let myself do things, and it
Yep.
works out sometimes. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
Wow.
what do you think of that reading, Davie J? Everything that we asked there and what came through?
I think that was actually a fun reading to see all these different questions answered. I know they're questions that I've had, so I figure a few other people have them too.
I never actually thought about what would happen with the development of Mars. Like, my life doesn't go there, and I
Same
always
here.
I always find it interesting when people ask me questions about stuff that I have like no interest in. Right?
Mm-hmm.
How much information comes through. I do past life readings as well too on Fiverr, and when I do the past life readings, history and geography are my two worst subjects. Like I am terrible. I know nothing, virtually nothing about history, geography. I'm terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I do those past life readings and I talk about specific places and things that happened there. And
Mm-hmm.
after the reading, I'm like, what the hell came through? And I'll look it up. And sure enough, I'm right. And they're
Wow.
like, well, where does
Yeah.
that information come from? I have no idea.
I would say it probably comes from Akashic Records, which is what Edgar Casey tapped into, as well as so many others. But Edgar Casey was one of the first ones in modern times in North America to do this sort of thing. So,
Now, explain the Akashic Records to people who may not be familiar with it.
it is basically uh, a library that we can tap into when we are at the right soul level, through meditation and other scenarios. And you can tap into every bit of information that ever was and ever will be, whether it's a reading for a specific soul or a place, a person. It's all kinds of things. And I think so many of us even tap into it without even knowing we're doing it. Like I'm sure I have, and I've consciously tried to get in there, and I'm like, "Hello," but I don't get it. But
I think it's like you get glimpses of it.
yeah,
It's like the door's not all the way open. It's not like a
right.
public library. Come on in. It's just like, we'll show you this one thing and go away.
It
That's.
it kind of I've recently read that it shows you what your soul needs to hear at this moment in order for its development in evolution forward. So that's kind of how the Akashic records work.
It's like a cheat sheet, but it only gives you
Yeah,
like one cheat at a time.
and I am definitely not an expert on them, so don't take my word for it.
I recently added Akashic Records Oracle cards to my readings
Oh,
just
cool.
to, and that's like my first direct, like I may have accessed the Akashic Records without realizing it, but
I would
That's
say
like
you have.
my first direct. Yeah, so I know too much without knowing anything.
Hmm.
It's weird.
Yeah.
People come to me and they're like, "Oh, you're so wise, you know things," and it's just like I just talk.
Hmm.
Words come out of my mouth. I'm not even paying attention most of the time.
That's because you're channeling that information. That's where
It's
it comes from. It's
information
a
that
channel.
people need to know in that
Yeah.
moment, right? And
Exactly.
the funny part is, it's like I do reading after reading, and when I do them online on Fiverr, I have a recorded video option. You can also do live readings with me there, but usually people order the recorded video readings. I don't see people's faces.
Hmm.
And I do so many readings, I can't remember from reading to reading. Like my memory is actually not good. My memory is pretty bad. And the cool part is that the cards and my intuition, even if I don't remember what was said or what happened in the previous reading,
Hmm.
everything still lines up and everything still makes sense. And people that get readings from me, they're like, "Well, how do you remember all of that?" And I'm like, "I don't." The say if I'm connecting to your energy, I'm connecting to the same energy every time. And unless you're lying to me about who you are and you're making up stories, I can pretty like dead on focus. I can even tell when people are lying to me and trying to trick me, which has happened from time to time. And maybe we'll save that story for another podcast.
Definitely. Or we could even test it out sometime, maybe. That would be
Well,
fun.
we just had one of your friends
Hmm.
just did a reading for me, and you did tell me
Yeah.
that
After the
friend,
fact.
the after the fact, yes. No, you did. No, I think you told me that your friend might get a reading from me, and you asked me if it was okay, and I said it was fine.
Oh, right.
But
Yeah.
but when your friend made the order, it was a she, right?
Yes.
She didn't tell me anything. I think like I still don't know who it is, right?
Hmm.
Like that's how little information she gave me, and then you confirmed with me just the other day
Yep.
that she had done it. Did she like it? Like
Oh,
that's the weird thing when I do these readings, I don't know
she
how it turns out unless somebody messages me.
She loved the reading. It answered a question that was kind of in the back of her mind. It was a one question that she just wanted to know.
Yeah,
Is basically what would happen if her husband applied for this place that he's wanting to go and work at.
yeah,
And you gave her an answer that she was very satisfied with, and gave her the clarity that she wanted, and she was very satisfied. So yeah.
that's great.
Hmm.
I still don't know who it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Davey's friend. With all the respect in the world, but I just do so many. And it's weird. It's like when I'm doing the readings, I'm like in a hyper focused state, and it's like when I'm done, it's gone. It's like it's here, and then it's
It's like a light switch. On
yeah.
and off.
I have people messaging me on Fiverr saying, "Oh, can you just answer this quick question for me for free right now?" And Fiverr doesn't like people doing anything for free,
Hmm.
but I can't answer quick questions because I need to be in the right mindset. I need to be in the right focus. If I'm out at the grocery store buying groceries and somebody messages me on Fiverr to just answer a quick simple question,
Hmm.
I need to meditate and prepare and have the cards and be in the right. You want to hear something crazy?
Absolutely.
So I have my tarot card reading desk, which you guys saw it. It takes me a while to get my desk feeling right. And one of the things that's kind of a weird thing with me, I will order a desk and I won't like it. I won't like the energy of the desk. And then I will buy another desk and then another desk. And then sometimes desks aren't good for a while. Well, I finally figured out a desk that I really like to do the readings. It's actually made up of two different desks together.
Hmm.
And then I do readings here in my studio. I also do readings at home. I have a home office, and I just bought the identical desk for my home office. I have like 7 desks right now. Okay. So my wife is like, "We're throwing out the desk you used to use, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just take it out. We get rid of it." And so now I do tarots on 2 identical desks, and the energy flow is better. The fact that like things are set up pretty much the same way, it
Hmm.
helps me to focus. Even like I use these mats that you saw earlier.
Hmm.
Having a nice little mat on the desk helps as well too, because it's a nice visual. Like the mat I'm using now has like cool clouds and like stars and the moon, so it kind of helps you focus the energy. But yeah, I maybe I'll buy more desks tomorrow. It's like some people have, collectibles, some people have a shoe collection.
Exotic cars? Nope. You like desks.
I have an office and a home filled with desks. At my home right now, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 desks at my home right now.
That's so funny.
Okay, I live in a 2-bedroom condo. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I got 4 desks in there. In my office right now, 8. I got 8 desks here in my studio office.
Maybe it's
Now,
time to start selling those on online on the
if
marketplace.
if I count all the folding tables I have, that probably goes up to like 15. Um, but it's like like the energy, and it's weird. I pick up on energy, and it's so strange because like I'll pick up on the energy of people when I do the readings, and I'll get a sense of somebody like instantly. And all I usually ask is like a first name. And I used to ask the full birth date, but now I just say, give me the year you were born or give me your age right now. And that's enough for me to kind of like tap in. And I can do the video recorded readings and they're just as good. Like your friend probably didn't do a live reading. Your friend probably did the video recorded reading.
I believe she did, yeah.
And I can do a reading at a distance anywhere, like from this desk to you anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah.
And it still connects.
Connected. We are all connected.
It's still connected. Well, it's physically, it's scientifically proven. Like air is particles.
Yeah.
Okay, between me and you, the air connects everything. Okay.
Exactly.
So even if you're not taking the spiritual stance on we're all connected, we are actually physically connected by the oxygen and the particles
Even
in the air.
Buddhism, they talk about everything is connected, and you can't picture a chair without the space around it.
Yeah.
So if you closed your eyes and pictured a chair in your head, picture it without the space around it. You cannot do that. There's always space around the object. So the object is connected to the space, which is connected to everything else.
Yeah. Like even though I'm in a room here with the door closed, there's still air going through underneath the door. Like,
yep.
And that's weird how like you could connect with I can connect with people anywhere in the world. And that was when I started doing the tarot reading on Fiverr. I was like doing it just for fun. I was running 2 other businesses, and this is like and I'm like, let's do this. I have, I'm doing 2 other things, but let's do this because I enjoy it. It was during COVID, and I was shocked at how I was able to connect to people anywhere on video without talking to them personally. And that was the first time I actually did a reading without like somebody being there. So I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. Other people are doing it, so let's give it a try.
Why not?
And I had this, one of the reasons why I went on to Fiverr, I was just like, I was bored. COVID was happening. I was locked in my home. It was like towards the end of COVID. But it's like I had a virtual job. I never left my condo really. And I'm like, I need an outlet. I need something to do where I can connect with people, or I'm going to go crazy.
Yes.
I'm going to go more crazy. Okay. And so I did that. And the funny part is before I did it, I got readings from other people on Fiverr just to see what it was like. And, some people I got readings from, I really liked the readings. Other people, it was not good. But the key is if you're looking for somebody to do readings for you, find the person that connects with you best. Like try a few people out and say, I like this person best.
Not
like
everybody will resonate with you.
No, some people don't connect with me for some reason. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes they don't connect, right?
It's not a negative thing. It's
no.
just what happens.
No, you find that reader that connects to you, that speaks to you the right way, and you stick with that person, right?
It's kind of like dating.
Yes, exactly. But one of the readings I got, a great guy, used to be on the platform, left the Fiverr platform last year. I was sad to see him go. He stopped doing readings, but I did a reading with him, and I asked him, what if I did the same thing you're doing on Fiverr? What if I launched a tarot card reading gig on Fiverr? How would it go? And, nice guy from the UK. I loved every reading he ever did with me. I'm sad he's gone and not doing readings anymore. But if I find you, if you do a reading, I will find you. That guy's my guy. But he told me that I would probably be more successful than him on the platform. And he's like, you're going to do better than I'm doing. You'll do way better than me. He's like, you're going to, and, just a few months ago, and I mentioned this before, I passed like the 10,000 reading mark, and I surpassed him. He was on the platform for like 12 years or something.
Wow.
I've only been on Fiverr for about 4 years and change now at the point we recorded this video. And yeah, I beat him.
That's
And
wild.
I'm not that type of person that goes, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to destroy you. It's just what happened.
Hmm.
But that's what can happen in you in your life if you put real focus and care into what you're doing. If you try hard and you do something you really enjoy, you can excel in that thing probably better than other people just because of circumstances and your energy being compatible with it.
Yeah. And did you have a subtle pull to do it? Like just that little subtle hint go, you need to go this direction over here. Is that
It
how you
was,
kind of knew?
you know what? I can't remember why I made the choice. But anytime I have a crazy idea for something, I tell my wife. If it's a really bad idea, she explains why. But most of the time she goes, you should do it. And it was like, I think it was something that came to me.
Hmm.
I'm like, I should do this. And immediately from her, it's like, yeah, you should do it. And it's just like, and then I did it. So, um,
And this is one reason why you married her.
yeah, yeah,
One of many reasons, but one
one of
very good
many
reason.
reasons. But yeah, no, she's a good judge of what's right, and she understands risk taking.
Hmm.
Now, you know, tarot card reading has changed my life dramatically in the last 4 years. Like, if I hadn't have done it,
Hmm.
I would be miserable right now. Like, this is, and that's when you're on the right path, when you feel
Definitely.
better. And COVID messed me up, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Messed a lot of people up.
I was, some days I don't want to get out of bed. Even now, some days I'm like, as leftover garbage from COVID, right? But it's, and I was worse during COVID. You've seen me like that, where I'm like,
Yep.
I'm dead to the world. I can't even get out of bed.
We've all had that moment where you just
Um,
hit rock bottom and you just don't want to get up.
no, and
We all have
and
those days.
you eventually you start to feel a little bit better for whatever reason. But
Hmm.
yeah, the moment I started doing tarot, I was working I was doing multiple jobs, and the main job that I had at that time was like 12 hours a day, and I would still put aside like 2-3 hours, and I'll do readings.
Hmm.
And then it just grew. And then eventually I went to my wife and I'm like, I don't have to do the job I hate anymore. Should I quit it? And she's like, go for it.
That
And
is a good wife.
we weren't making the same money, but it was like, we're going to lose money, but you're going to be happier, and
Mhm.
let's do it. And it's worked since then.
Yep.
So it's
Sometimes happiness is way more expensive than money. So it's good to make a change like that when you feel it's right and you can afford to.
absolutely. But yeah, it's like you got to take risks sometimes. You got to,
Hmm.
and if the person you ask for advice always says no and
Hmm.
poops on everything, that's what I say. People poop on stuff, right?
Yep.
If the person you're asking for advice is always negative and they always poop on everything, then ask somebody else. That's not the right person giving
Yep.
you advice. Now, the right
Totally.
person won't say yes and agree with everything, but they should at least agree to some things.
And
Like,
they'll at least give you an honest opinion. Like,
yeah, tell you
uh,
why, right?
hmm
Here's why I think you're going to fail and be miserable. Let me
yeah,
list
not
it out.
just no, don't do that. You're crazy, and then walk away. Well,
Yeah,
okay, thanks. That's really helpful.
or their reaction is, well, that's going to hurt me, or what's that going to do to me? Like, they're focused on themselves.
Yep.
You'll find that right person. to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm sad that tarot card reader is gone from Fiverr.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that, him leaving Fiverr was, for a good reason, for something to improve in his life, for him to be
Definitely.
happier. Maybe readings got to him.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't working out the way that he wanted it to. Um, and if you watch this, that guy was also named Chris. Okay.
That's
And
cool.
if Chris is watching, um,
Chris,
send me a
it's you, eh?
message. Send me a message. Submit to be on the thirdeyalliance.com. I'd love to hear from you. And, maybe I can do some readings for you as well, too. For all I know, I have been doing readings for him, and he's just been using a different name from another account. But
You never know. That'd be fun.
and it's kind of funny that he went by Chris, and I'm R. Christoph because my first name starts with the letter R.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys can't see my name tag on there, but it's my middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's actually my name. Okay, it's just not the first name. But yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit, Dave, but
Okay.
I want to do it as maybe a special video that we'll post on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
If you're okay with the way the video goes. But
Sure.
for those of you watching this podcast right now, that's it for the podcast. I think we've done more than enough for this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks so much
Nice long
for
episode.
thanks so much for tuning in. And if you guys want to find out more about the Third Eye Alliance, or you want to join the Third Eye Alliance, you can come on the show. Okay.
Absolutely.
All you have to do is go to thirdeyalliance.com. It's a website. You fill out a form, and we'll follow up with you. And we'd love to hear your story, experiences, anything that you've had. We'd love for you to show us your abilities as well too. Our last episode, we had an astrologer on that went through and gave Davie J pretty much a very detailed
Very
astrology
detailed
reading. Of course, if
and
you haven't
very
watched that
accurate.
episode, go back one episode from this one and you can watch it.
It was a very accurate reading, I will say too.
It was scary, and
Mhm.
that's a good reading.
Very, very good. Yeah.
Well, very good reading. But I'm just saying, like, good readings in general, they're usually a bit scary
Yes.
because they're telling you things that you didn't think anybody else knew.
Yep.
And the only thing I told that astrologer was that we do a podcast and your name pretty much.
Yeah. And then
There was
my birthday, of course.
yes, because
Yep.
Dave gave the information.
Yep.
So, but like from a name and a birthday, you're not
Darn
gonna
good.
unless you know what you're doing, you're not gonna pull any realistic information. One of the funny things is every once in a while, and maybe we'll save this for the special video, but yeah, there's a special video we're going to be putting on the channel from this episode. Maybe you watch the special video first, but that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for selecting me for selecting this podcast to watch. My name is R. Christoph.
And I am Davie J. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe with like-minded people who enjoy this content too.
Yeah, and if the platform you're watching this on has the ability to comment below. It helps us a lot. Okay. Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.